All right, guys, next up, let's take a look at West Virginia headed into next college football season. Neal Brown, their head coach, went into the last season, went into it on the hot seat, but with a pretty good year last year, got himself off the hot seat. Ended the season at 9-4, led by their quarterback, Garrett Greene, who does return this year, which is why I have them in my top 25. If you haven't watched Garrett Greene, really impressive player, really good dual threat guy. Can run it, can pass it, also kind of has that stuff to him. You know, he'll talk to the other team, kind of get in their face, get them going. But today we're going to take a look at West Virginia's recruiting class, their transfer portal class, then look at their schedule, see how they're going to do this year. But like I said, right now I have them at number 18 in my way too early top 25. They've got a lot of pieces coming back. In particular, like I said, the quarterback that is really impressive, should be probably a Big 12 all-conference performer by the end of the year. So let's look at it a little bit. All right. Recruiting ranking-wise, they are 47th, and then transfer portal-wise, they are 46th. So not bad at all for West Virginia. Recruiting-wise, they don't necessarily have any guys that are probably going to play this second, but some really good 3-stars, 4 down the line. Now, I do have some guys that have signed those letters of intent, but are not yet on campus. That's where the 4-stars come in, 4-star offensive tackle, 4-star wide receiver. And then the transfer portal, they've actually loaded up in the secondary, which is really going to help them this year. All right, they've got 2 cornerbacks coming in from Northwestern. They also have cornerbacks coming in as well from other teams, in particular Colorado State. Then they've got a linebacker from Ohio State coming in. That's going to help their defense. Another edge rusher here. They've got a wide receiver coming in from Ohio State, defensive lineman from Troy. So that defense should be really improved this year. And then you also give Greene another weapon as well as an offensive tackle. Now, I did lose some key pieces out of the transfer portal as well, like their players transferred out. All right, in particular, D. Lyman to Florida State. They also lost our key linebacker Lance Dixon to Toledo. So they lost some pretty good talent to the transfer portal, but they also kind of regained it back in some key pieces that they need. Now, their schedule next year should be pretty good for them. I think they are going to be having a good year here. In particular, all right, let me pull it up here for you so you can see it a little bit better. So they do start the season, all right, with a tough matchup. This schedule's not very easy, I'll be honest with you. But as good as they are, as talented as they are, I think they have a legitimate chance here to go on a run, potentially be a potential college football playoff team. But it doesn't start easy at all. You've got Penn State. Lucky for you, it's at home. If it was away, I'd probably book this as an automatic loss. But this is going to be a top 20 matchup. Penn State in my preseason top 10, I believe, somewhere in that range. And then you've got West Virginia. Now, you do have the expanded playoff this year, so you can probably afford a loss in here somewhere and still make the playoff, but you'd probably rather win than not. But Penn State, having that game at home, I think they're actually going to beat Penn State. It's not going to be easy by any means. That's probably going to be the best game of this week. But I think West Virginia gets the win here over Penn State. If it was away, like I said, I probably wouldn't go that far. I think Penn State's pretty tough to beat at home in particular. This year, because I think Penn State's going to be good. But West Virginia, Penn State should be a good matchup. Give me West Virginia there. So that puts you at 1-0. You've got Albany next. That'll put you at 2-0. You've got at Pitt. Pitt should be pretty down this year. That should put you at 3-0. You've got Kansas next. That's not going to be an easy matchup. There's a lot of tough matchups in the Big 12 this year, and probably about 5 or 6 teams really that could realistically win the Big 12. But Kansas, I think they're going to get the win there. Now, that'll obviously depend on if they still have Daniels at quarterback. Kansas, he is coming back, but he's also pretty injury-prone. But I think West Virginia gets the win there regardless, 4-0. All right, then you travel to Oklahoma State, go to Stillwater. That's not going to be easy at all. Oklahoma State, I'm really high on them this year. They've got a lot of talent coming back, almost the number 1 team in returning production in the nation. I've got Oklahoma State right now in the college football playoff. I think that's going to be a loss. You've got Iowa State next. All right, I think they should beat Iowa State. Iowa State should be somewhat improved record-wise from last year, but I think West Virginia, again, too much. Kansas State, all right, that's going to depend on the quarterback situation, how they do with Avery Johnson at quarterback in comparison to Will Howard. Now, he did play a lot this year anyway, but Howard was kind of the guy, so-called, but he did transfer out to Ohio State, so it depends on that. But I think West Virginia, having them at home definitely helps. At Arizona, all right, so Arizona's kind of a weird, don't know where to place them in the Big 12 pecking order. If they would have kept Jeb Fish, their coach, coming in, I would probably put them number 1. But with having a different coach, they do bring a lot of guys back, but still, I don't know how that coaching is going to necessarily fit the scheme. We'll see. I think West Virginia there, though, gets the win still, and I think Arizona, despite being talented, I think West Virginia is a little too much there. So that puts you at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7-1. Really good record so far. At Cincinnati, that should be an automatic win. 8-1 versus Baylor. That should be another automatic win. Baylor's pretty down. 9-1. UCF, not going to be easy by any means. These last 2 games are going to be tough. Central Florida, Baylor, and Texas Tech are all going to be pretty talented. But I think you roll this schedule here. I think you beat UCF. I think they beat Texas Tech. So that puts you at 1 loss, probably going in to play Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 championship. That's a toss-up. I don't think West Virginia can beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is really talented. They're older, and just across the board have a lot of guys coming back, like I said, so they've kind of been there before to the Big 12 championship in particular. So I think West Virginia gets dipped again by Oklahoma State. That probably puts you at 2 losses. Now, at most on this, it's kind of up and down. There could be probably 4 or 5 losses in here, or you could end up going undefeated. This is not an easy schedule. I think it is manageable because West Virginia is going to be really good. But looking down the list, Penn State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, really every Big 12 game in there besides probably Cincinnati is a potential loss. I think they'll beat Baylor, but every other one, though, really could almost be a coin flip game. But I think West Virginia runs the gauntlet, all right, but you lose twice to Oklahoma State. So what you need there to make the playoff is like the 12th seed. You need Oklahoma State to go undefeated and to make those two losses really close, tough games. If you can do that, I think West Virginia could still sneak in the playoff even with 2 losses, but it's not going to be easy by any means. You're going to have to rely on other teams dropping other games that they shouldn't. But I think if they only lose twice, they will make the college football playoff, but they could drop another game here. We'll see. But what do you think of West Virginia next season? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you think they can make the college football playoff? Where would you rank them in the Big 12 pecking order? What do you think their record is? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. And most importantly, subscribe.